Stanley Baldwin 1935–1937. Stanley Baldwin, a prominent figure in British politics during the first half of the 20th century, served as Prime Minister on 3 separate occasions. Born on August 3, 1867, into a family deeply entrenched in business and politics, Baldwin's political journey began when he won a seat in the House of Commons in 1908 as a member of the Conservative Party. His early years in Parliament were marked by a commitment to social reform and his growing influence within the party. Baldwin's ascent to prominence was gradual but steady. By the early 1920s, he had become a key figure within the Conservative Party. In 1923, he assumed the role of Prime Minister for the first time, leading a coalition government. However, his tenure was short-lived, and he faced electoral defeat later that year. Baldwin's political resilience came to the fore when he returned as Prime Minister in 1924, successfully navigating the country through economic challenges and establishing a reputation for pragmatic leadership. His policies focused on economic stability and social reforms, earning him popularity among a broad spectrum of voters. Baldwin's commitment to consensus politics and his ability to bridge ideological divides within the Conservative Party contributed to his success as a leader. The period from 1935 to 1937 was characterized by global instability, with the world inching closer to the brink of another devastating conflict. Baldwin's return to power in 1935 came at a critical juncture, as Europe was grappling with the aftermath of the Great Depression and witnessing the rise of aggressive fascist regimes. In the aftermath of World War I, Britain faced economic challenges, social unrest, and a shifting geopolitical landscape. The global economic downturn of the 1930s exacerbated these issues, leading to high unemployment and economic struggles. Moreover, the rise of authoritarian regimes in Germany and Italy, along with the expansionist ambitions of Japan, heightened international tensions. Baldwin's leadership during this period was shaped by the need to address domestic concerns such as economic recovery and social stability while navigating the complex diplomatic landscape of pre-World War II Europe. The looming threat of conflict and the emergence of new power dynamics set the stage for the challenges Baldwin would face during his third term as Prime Minister. Understanding the historical context is crucial to appreciating the decisions and policies implemented by Baldwin during this pivotal period in British history. Stanley Baldwin's early life laid the foundation for his later political career. Born into a politically and socially influential family on August 3, 1867, in Boodley, Worcestershire, Baldwin was the son of a wealthy industrialist, Alfred Baldwin, who was also a member of Parliament. This familial connection to politics and business provided Stanley with a privileged upbringing and exposure to the intricacies of public life. Educated at Harrow School, one of England's prestigious institutions, Baldwin's academic journey displayed intellectual promise. Following his time at Harrow, he attended Trinity College, Cambridge, where he studied history. Baldwin's education not only equipped him with a broad understanding of historical contexts but also instilled in him the critical thinking skills that would prove valuable in his later political career. Baldwin's entry into politics came in 1908 when he was elected as the Member of Parliament, MP, for Boodley, succeeding his father. His initial years in the House of Commons allowed him to familiarize himself with parliamentary procedures and build connections within the Conservative Party. By 1921, Baldwin's political acumen earned him a prominent role within the Conservative Party, and he was appointed as President of the Board of Trade. Subsequently, in 1922, Baldwin played a pivotal role in the ousting of the Lloyd George coalition government, which led to a Conservative majority in the general election that followed. Baldwin's strategic moves within the party culminated in his appointment as Prime Minister in 1923. After a brief interlude when Ramsay MacDonald's Labour government took office, Baldwin returned to power in 1924 and subsequently won the general election later that year. His leadership during this period was marked by efforts to restore economic stability and promote social reforms, earning him public support. Stanley Baldwin's political ideology was rooted in a pragmatic and centrist approach. He was known for steering a middle course between the more conservative and liberal factions within the Conservative Party. Baldwin's political values were shaped by a commitment to social harmony, economic stability, and maintaining the status quo during a time of domestic and international uncertainty. Economically, Baldwin believed in a balanced budget and fiscal responsibility. His policies were aimed at addressing the economic challenges of the time, particularly in the wake of the Great Depression. Baldwin's emphasis on consensus politics and his ability to unite divergent voices within the Conservative Party showcased his commitment to stability and avoiding ideological extremes. In terms of foreign policy, Baldwin was cautious and sought to navigate the complex diplomatic landscape of the interwar period. His government faced challenges posed by the rise of fascist regimes in Europe, and Baldwin's approach was characterized by a desire to avoid conflict while safeguarding British interests. The political landscape in 1935 was marked by a combination of domestic and international challenges that shaped the context of Stanley Baldwin's return to power. Internationally, Europe was grappling with the aftermath of the Great Depression, and the rise of fascist regimes, particularly in Germany and Italy, was casting a shadow over the continent. In Britain, economic recovery was a pressing concern, and social issues were at the forefront of public discourse. The political climate in Britain was characterized by a sense of apprehension and uncertainty. The global economic downturn had left a lasting impact, with high unemployment rates and economic struggles affecting the lives of ordinary citizens. Additionally, the international stage was witnessing the aggressive expansionist policies of Adolf Hitler's Germany and Benito Mussolini's Italy, raising concerns about the stability of the European order. Against this backdrop, Stanley Baldwin led the Conservative Party into the general election of 1935. The election proved to be a significant triumph for Baldwin and the Conservatives, as they secured a comfortable majority in the House of Commons. Baldwin's leadership during this campaign was marked by a focus on stability, economic recovery, and a commitment to maintaining peace in the face of growing tensions on the continent. Baldwin's electoral success not only reflected his personal popularity but also the electorate's confidence in his ability to navigate the complex challenges of the time. The outcome of the election solidified Baldwin's position as a key political figure and paved the way for his reappointment as Prime Minister. Stanley Baldwin's approach to international relations during his third term as Prime Minister, 1935 to 1937, was characterized by a commitment to peace and stability, grounded in a policy of appeasement. In the aftermath of World War I, the scars of the conflict were still fresh, and there was a prevailing sentiment in Britain to avoid the mistakes that had led to the Great War. Baldwin's foreign policy aimed to navigate the intricate diplomatic landscape of the interwar period by seeking conciliation with potential adversaries rather than confrontation. Baldwin's commitment to peace, however, did not mean a passive or indifferent stance. He recognized the rising threats posed by aggressive powers, particularly Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, and sought diplomatic solutions to prevent further destabilization in Europe. His policies were influenced by a desire to avoid another large-scale conflict while safeguarding British interests and maintaining the security of the British Empire. The Abyssinian Crisis, also known as the Italo-Ethiopian War, unfolded between 1935 and 1936 when Fascist Italy, led by Benito Mussolini, invaded the independent African nation of Ethiopia. The League of Nations, established after World War I to promote international cooperation and prevent conflict, faced a critical test as it grappled with how to respond to Italy's aggression. Baldwin's response to the Abyssinian Crisis was emblematic of his policy of appeasement. While he and the British government expressed moral outrage at Italy's actions, they were reluctant to take decisive action that might escalate tensions and lead to military conflict. The British public, scarred by the memory of World War I, was generally averse to the idea of another war, and Baldwin's foreign policy reflected this sentiment. The League of Nations' failure to halt Italy's aggression in Ethiopia highlighted the limitations of collective security and diplomatic efforts in the face of aggressive powers. The Abyssinian Crisis had a profound impact on British foreign policy, further shaping Baldwin's cautious approach and influencing subsequent decisions regarding Germany and Italy. As the political landscape in Europe became increasingly fraught with tension, Baldwin's government faced the challenge of managing relations with Germany and Italy. Adolf Hitler's Germany, in particular, was undergoing rapid rearmament and territorial expansion. Baldwin, adhering to his policy of appeasement, sought to engage diplomatically with Germany rather than confront it militarily. The signing of the Anglo-German Naval Agreement in 1935 was a notable example of Baldwin's attempt to appease Germany. The agreement allowed Germany to expand its navy up to 35% of the size of the British Royal Navy, reflecting Baldwin's belief that concessions could avert conflict. However, it also marked a failure to recognize Hitler's more aggressive long-term ambitions. Similarly, Baldwin's government engaged in diplomatic efforts with Italy, despite the controversy surrounding the Abyssinian Crisis. The hope was to prevent further hostilities and maintain stability in the Mediterranean region. However, these efforts ultimately proved inadequate in the face of Italy's alignment with Nazi Germany in the lead-up to World War II. Stanley Baldwin's response to the economic challenges of the time reflected his pragmatic and conservative approach. Baldwin prioritized economic stability and sought to address the issue of unemployment through a combination of fiscal policies and social programs. One notable initiative was the introduction of public works programs designed to provide employment opportunities. These projects, ranging from infrastructure development to construction, aimed not only to alleviate unemployment but also to invest in the country's physical and social infrastructure. Baldwin's government also pursued monetary policies to stabilize the economy. The aim was to balance the budget and reduce government debt, signaling a commitment to fiscal responsibility. However, the effectiveness of these measures was limited by the broader global economic conditions and the complexities of international trade relations. In addition to addressing economic challenges, Baldwin's government implemented a series of social reforms during this period. Recognizing the need for social stability and responding to the demands for improved living conditions, the government introduced measures aimed at enhancing the well-being of the population. One significant area of focus was housing. The government initiated programs to address the shortage of affordable housing, with an emphasis on improving living conditions for working-class families. The aim was not only to provide shelter but also to stimulate the construction industry, creating jobs and boosting economic activity. Baldwin's government also took steps to improve social welfare. While not revolutionary, these measures were aimed at mitigating the impact of economic hardships on the most vulnerable members of society. The introduction of unemployment benefits and social assistance programs signaled a recognition of the government's responsibility to support those in need. The Abdication Crisis of 1936 was a pivotal moment in British history, revolving around the decision of King Edward VIII to relinquish the throne. Edward's desire to marry Wallis Simpson, an American divorcee, triggered a constitutional crisis as it was deemed unacceptable for the reigning monarch to marry a divorced woman, especially one with two living ex-husbands. The implications of Edward's abdication were profound. The British monarchy faced a challenge to its traditional values and the sanctity of its role as a symbol of continuity and stability. The crisis raised questions about the monarchy's relationship with public opinion, morality, and the changing social norms of the time. Stanley Baldwin played a crucial role in managing the abdication crisis. As Prime Minister, Baldwin was tasked with navigating the constitutional complexities and public sentiment surrounding the king's personal choices. Baldwin's approach was characterized by a careful balance between preserving the integrity of the monarchy and acknowledging the changing societal attitudes towards personal relationships. Baldwin engaged in discreet negotiations with key figures within the government, the Church of England, and the Commonwealth to gauge the level of support for the king's proposed marriage. Recognizing the potential impact on public opinion and the institution of the monarchy, Baldwin urged Edward to consider the greater good of the nation. Ultimately, faced with the prospect of losing public and political support, King Edward VIII chose to abdicate on December 11, 1936. Baldwin's handling of the crisis showcased his diplomatic skills and commitment to maintaining stability. By navigating a delicate path between the royal family's private matters and public expectations, Baldwin helped to avoid a potentially damaging constitutional crisis. The abdication of King Edward VIII had a profound impact on public opinion and the perception of the monarchy. While there were divisions among the British public regarding the king's personal choices, the majority expressed support for Baldwin's handling of the crisis. The decision to prioritize the stability of the monarchy over the desires of the individual monarch demonstrated a commitment to constitutional principles. In the long term, the abdication crisis marked a shift in the monarchy's public image. King George VI, Edward's younger brother, ascended to the throne, bringing a sense of duty and stability during a challenging period in history, including the onset of World War II. The crisis also led to increased scrutiny of the monarchy's private affairs and a growing awareness of the need for the royal family to align with evolving social values. The period of Stanley Baldwin's leadership from 1935 to 1937 was marked by a combination of domestic and international challenges. Baldwin returned to power during a time of economic hardship, global instability, and the rising threat of fascist regimes in Europe. His leadership style, characterized by pragmatism and a commitment to stability, shaped his responses to these challenges. Baldwin navigated economic difficulties through a combination of fiscal policies and social reforms, while his approach to foreign policy was marked by a policy of appeasement in the face of rising aggression from Nazi Germany and fascist Italy. The Abdication Crisis of 1936 further tested his leadership as he sought to maintain the stability of the monarchy and navigate a changing societal landscape. Leadership style. Baldwin's pragmatic leadership style, marked by a commitment to consensus politics and stability, remains relevant in contemporary discussions about effective governance. The need for leaders to bridge ideological divides and navigate complex political landscapes is a lesson that resonates in today's polarized world. International relations. The policy of appeasement pursued by Baldwin during the prelude to World War II serves as a cautionary tale. The debate over the efficacy of accommodating aggressive regimes versus taking a firm stance continues to shape discussions on diplomacy and international relations. Economic challenges. Baldwin's response to economic challenges, including public works programs and social reforms, echoes in contemporary debates on addressing economic inequalities and unemployment. The idea of using government intervention to stimulate economic activity during challenging times is a topic of ongoing discussion. In conclusion, Stanley Baldwin's leadership during 1935 to 1937 left a lasting impact on British politics and offers valuable insights for contemporary leaders facing complex challenges. His legacy, while nuanced and subject to historical debate, provides a lens through which to examine the enduring principles of leadership, diplomacy, and economic governance. Thank you for watching this video. If you found it informative, please like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this in the future.